Okay, so you know that classic video game Shadowgate?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's back, but as a board game this time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're talking Shadowgate, The Living Castle.
Okay.
And it's a board game that takes, like, everything you loved about the 2014 remake,
Right.
and it turns it into a cooperative adventure that you can play with your friends,
Nice.
up to 3 of them.
Okay, cool.
So are you ready to explore this living castle?
I am.
Solve mind-bending puzzles,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even face the Warlock Lord himself.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's dive in.
What's really cool about this game is that it isn't just inspired by Shadowgate.
Right.
It's like you are actually in that world when you play it.
Really?
Yeah. The creators' 317 games have meticulously woven in the lore,
Wow.
the characters, and even that dark gothic vibe from the video game.
Okay.
It's published by Trick or Treat Studios, by the way.
Oh, that's pretty fitting.
Yeah, which seems fitting for a game about a spooky castle.
Right. And you can totally see that connection to the 2014 remake. Just from the box art alone.
Yeah.
It's like a modern take on the classic NES cover
Uh-huh.
with that super menacing gargoyle
Right.
staring right at you.
Yeah.
Like nostalgia overload.
Yeah.
But before we get too lost in those creepy castle vibes,
Okay.
maybe we should unpack like what's actually in the box.
Okay.
So what's in the box?
So you got your board, of course, which is a beautifully illustrated map of Shadowgate itself.
Right.
And then there are player mats for each character and tokens to represent those characters as they move through the castle.
Okay.
And then a whole bunch of different dice.
Dice. I bet they're not just the usual 6-sided ones.
Nope.
Okay.
You have your standard black dice.
Okay.
But then there's also a blue die and a red die,
Oh.
which each have like special functions that we'll talk about later.
All right, cool.
And then there's the cards.
Okay.
Quest cards, item cards, puzzle cards, energy cards, death cards,
Yeah.
even gin riddle cards.
Whoa, wait, hold on. Gin riddle cards.
Mm-hmm.
Those sound intriguing.
Yeah,
Is that where that like living castle aspect of the game comes in?
sort of.
Okay.
So the gin is like a being that's trapped within the castle.
Okay.
And these riddles are his way of either messing with you
Uh-huh.
or helping you
Okay.
if you can figure them out.
Okay.
It adds like a fun element of chance
Right.
and a little bit of problem solving to the game.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I can already imagine like
Yeah.
myself huddled around with a bunch of friends arguing about solutions to a riddle
Mm-hmm.
while our torch is running low.
Yeah.
But speaking of Shadowgate's history,
Okay.
like this isn't just a random spooky castle, is it?
Oh, definitely not.
Like this goes way back.
Yeah, Shadowgate's roots go all the way back to the 1980s
Okay.
with the original Macintosh game
No.
created by Dave Marsh and Carl Roloffs.
Okay.
It quickly gained like a huge cult following,
Okay.
especially after it got ported to the NES.
Right.
Do you remember those pixelated graphics?
Oh, yeah. And that eerie 8-bit music.
Yeah, super groundbreaking game for its time.
It was.
Yeah, and terrifyingly fun.
Uh-huh.
But this board game is drawing specifically from the 2014 remake
Right.
by Zojoy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we get all the story and characters from, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually super important
Okay.
because that 2014 remake embraced a much darker and atmospheric tone
Oh, okay.
than the original.
Right.
And you see that reflected in the board game's art and even the soundtrack.
Gotcha.
It's not just like a nostalgic throwback.
Right.
It's a modern interpretation
Okay.
of what makes Shadowgate so compelling.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a game that's faithful to its roots,
Mm.
but also a fresh take on the Shadowgate experience.
Yeah.
But before we jump into the actual gameplay,
Okay.
let's meet the heroes of this story.
All right.
So who can we actually play as in this game?
You have 8 iconic characters to choose from.
Wow. Each of them have their own unique backstory and set of abilities that tie directly into the Shadowgate lore.
Okay. Nice.
You can play as Jer Cuthigar, the warrior,
Okay.
with a hidden lineage.
Or Fizzling Quickfoot,
Right.
the thief,
Yeah,
always hunting for treasure.
that's right. Or Lakmir the Timeless,
Okay,
a wise wizard that knows all the secrets of the past.
Or Catalia Moore, the
Mhm.
devout cleric,
Mm-hmm.
guided by visions.
Or Thoradun Ray,
Okay.
the super valiant paladin
Yeah.
sworn to protect the realm.
Or Goran True Strike,
Yes.
the sturdy dwarven smith,
Uh-huh.
seeking answers.
And then Akaria Tin,
Okay.
the very skilled elven archer.
Right.
With a really keen eye.
And then last but not least,
Yeah.
Willowmere,
Right?
the powerful shaman.
Yeah.
who communes with all those forces of nature.
Yeah, it's a very diverse cast of characters,
Okay.
and each of them have their own standard abilities
Yeah.
and a special fully equipped ability that you can unlock as you play the game.
Right.
And these abilities can change the way you play the game totally.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
So like take Jair, for example.
Mm-hmm.
His standard ability lets him start with an extra item.
Okay.
But if you equip him fully,
Right.
he can go through the entire item card deck
Wow.
and pick whatever item he wants.
Yeah.
That sounds so powerful.
It can be, especially early in the game when
Well.
you're trying to get a good start.
Uh-huh.
But it also depends on your strategy.
Okay.
If you're going to focus on combat,
Right.
then Jair's ability to get powerful weapons early on can change the entire game.
So right off the bat, we're already talking strategic team composition,
Uh-huh.
knowing each character's strengths.
Right.
To know which one to use is super key.
Yeah.
What about beginner mode?
Okay.
That's mentioned in the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where certain characters might shine?
Yeah, the beginner mode makes things a little bit simpler. Okay.
By using a preset board layout
Okay.
and only having one single final boss.
Okay, gotcha.
Characters like Talimar, Gorian Truestrike,
Okay.
Akararia Tin,
Right.
or Willowmere are good starting points for this mode.
Okay.
You can tell because their character mats have little yellow stars, which indicates a more balanced set of traits that they start with.
So it's a good way to ease into the game,
Yeah.
get a feel for the mechanics,
Uh-huh.
and then experiment with more challenging characters later on.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got our heroes assembled.
Right?
What's the first step
Okay.
once we enter Shadowgate?
So each player's turn is divided into 5 phases.
Wow, okay.
Equip, action, quest, resolve, and end.
Okay.
And it's a cycle that keeps the game moving and also keeps the tension building.
All right, let's break those down.
Oh.
Starting with equip.
Uh-huh.
What's happening here?
So this is where you get to deck out your character.
With all the cool items you've collected,
Okay.
think of it as gearing up for all the challenges ahead.
Gotcha.
So you can equip relics for special abilities,
Right.
weapons to boost your combat strength,
Okay.
or magic items to harness the elements.
So it's like a classic RPG.
Yeah.
We're talking swords,
Mm-hmm.
shields,
Yep.
magic amulets, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Exactly. But there's a limit to how many items you can have at once.
Right.
And a super crucial tip.
Okay.
If you manage to fill all 4 of the equip slots on your character mat, you unlock their special fully equipped ability.
Wow. Okay.
And this is a one-time use power
Okay.
that can seriously turn things around in your favor.
That's a good thing to keep in mind.
Uh-huh.
So we're geared up, ready for action.
Right.
Literally what
Yeah.
happens in the action phase.
So this is where you get to use those items,
Right.
activate abilities,
Okay.
and maybe even try to solve a Djinn riddle if you have the right card. You can also trade items with other players if you need to strategize.
Ooh, bartering
Yeah,
with your fellow adventurers.
exactly.
That adds a whole new layer of interaction to the game.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing the real meat of the game comes with the quest phase,
Yeah,
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where Shadowgate really comes alive.
You got it. So this is where you choose a quest that you want to undertake.
Okay.
There are standard quests, monster quests, puzzle quests, and event cards, which are a little unpredictable.
Okay.
Each one presents a unique challenge and varying rewards if you manage to succeed.
Okay. Hold on. 4 different types of quests.
Yep.
This is starting to sound pretty complex.
That's not too bad.
All right, give me the quick rundown.
Okay.
Like, what are we dealing with here?
All right, so think of standard quests as kind of your bread and butter.
Right.
They usually involve testing your character's traits,
Yeah.
like strength, resourcefulness, or mental.
Right.
And then they reward you with helpful items. Or elemental tokens, which power up your abilities.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Elemental tokens.
Yeah.
What are those?
They're like little power-ups that you can use to boost your character's stats for a little bit.
Okay.
So there are 3 different types: fire, ice, and wind.
Okay.
But we'll get into those a little bit later.
Okay, so standard quests are about testing your character's basic abilities
Yeah,
and gathering resources.
right.
What about those monster quests?
Right.
Those sound like trouble.
They can be.
Okay.
So this is where you face off against creatures lurking within Shadowgate.
Okay.
You know, think like giant spiders,
Mhm.
lurking werewolves,
Right.
all sorts of creepy crawlies.
Yeah.
And if you can defeat them,
Okay.
you often get puzzle items, which are key for...
The puzzle quests.
Exactly.
I was just about to ask about
Yeah.
this. Okay, so it's like a chain reaction.
Yeah.
Defeat monsters to get items to solve puzzles.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So puzzle quests are actually some of the most rewarding in the game.
Yeah.
They often give you substantial XP for solving them.
Right.
But you need those specific puzzle items that we were just talking about to even attempt one.
Okay.
So it adds like a strategy element to the game.
Right.
Where you have to decide if you should go monster hunting
Uh-huh.
or focus on solving puzzles.
Ooh, so there's real planning involved. This
Yeah.
isn't just like a hack and slash adventure. It's about brains as much as brawn.
Exactly.
And then we got those event cards.
Okay.
Those sound like wild cards.
They totally are.
Okay.
They aren't quests, really,
Mm-hmm.
but they're like these occurrences that happen suddenly
Okay.
that can either help you or make things harder.
Okay.
It's all part of what makes Shadowgate a living castle.
Right.
You never know what's going to happen next.
Okay, so we've got standard quests to test our skills,
Mm-hmm.
monster quests for like epic battles,
Right.
puzzle quests for, the brainiacs out there,
Uh-huh.
and event cards to throw a wrench into all of our plans.
It's,
This sounds like a wild ride.
It is.
But how do we actually attempt a quest?
Okay.
Is it just like roll the dice and see what happens?
There's a little bit more to it than that.
Okay.
Each quest has specific requirements that are listed on the card.
Okay.
It might say, like, it requires a certain strength level
Mm-hmm.
or resourcefulness or mental ability.
Okay.
So to see if you meet the challenge,
Okay.
you're going to roll those black dice
Uh-huh.
and then add the result to your character's corresponding trait.
Okay, so let's say I need a strength of 3
Okay.
to complete a quest,
Mm.
but my character only has a strength of 2.
Okay.
Am I just doomed?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
You get to roll 2 dice
Okay.
and distribute those results however you want among your traits. So
Okay.
you could add 1 to your strength and
All right.
1 to your mental
Mm-hmm.
and hope that you bump up your strength enough to meet the requirement.
Ah, so it's a gamble.
Yeah.
We're relying on luck.
Right.
But there's also that element of strategy
Yeah.
in how we allocate those dice rolls.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
That's where Shadowgate really shines.
Right.
It's this perfect balance of chance and careful planning.
Right.
But what happens
Yeah.
if you don't meet the requirements for the quest?
I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
Something tells me a failure in Shadowgate isn't very pretty.
No, it's not. Well, failure in Shadowgate can sting a little bit.
Okay.
Some quests will drain your torch,
Right.
which brings you closer to being swallowed by the darkness.
Uh-huh.
Others, especially the ones that are marked with that ominous skull symbol,
Right.
will give you a death card.
Death cards. Okay, those sound seriously bad.
Yeah.
Am I out of the game if I get one?
No, you don't get, eliminated from the game completely,
Okay.
but they will deduct points from your score at the end.
Right.
They're like a constant reminder of all the dangers lurking in Shadowgate. So it's not just about completing the quest.
Right.
It's about, staying alive
Yeah.
while you're trying to do it.
Exactly.
Man, the tension is real.
Speaking of tension,
Okay.
let's talk about those Djinn riddle cards.
Okay.
Remember the Djinn we mentioned that's
Ah.
being trapped in the castle?
Right.
Well, if you draw a Djinn riddle card
Okay.
and you happen to have the card that answers it,
Right.
you'll get a reward.
It's like a bonus challenge.
Yeah.
You have a chance to outsmart the castle itself.
Uh-huh.
What kind of rewards are we talking?
They can be pretty great.
Okay.
You might get more items,
Mm.
a boost to your torch counter, or even some of those elemental tokens that we talked about.
Okay, those elemental tokens sound pretty useful.
Yeah.
So they're like temporary power-ups
Yeah.
for our character.
Exactly. You can use them to increase your strength, resourcefulness, or mental abilities when you need them.
Okay.
Like, let's say you're going up against a quest that requires, more strength than you actually have.
Right.
You could use, a fire token to give yourself a little bit of an edge.
Ah, so it's like having a strategic reserve.
Yeah.
Something to pull out when things get tough.
Uh-huh.
And I remember we were talking about how Willowmere,
Mm.
the shaman,
Yes.
has a special connection to those elemental tokens.
Yes. She does. Her special ability lets her use any elemental token like a wild card.
Oh, wow.
So if other characters need a certain type of token
Right.
for a certain boost,
Hmm.
Willowmere can use any of them,
Gotcha.
which makes her really versatile,
Okay.
especially in a tough spot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's a lot of depth to the character choices and strategies in this game.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what happens if we do complete a quest,
Okay.
besides not dying horribly.
I mean,
Yeah.
success in Shadowgate always has a reward.
Okay.
You'll gain XP, which helps you track your progress.
Mm-hmm.
And it also determines who wins the game at the end. You might also find, like, valuable item cards.
Oh.
Or those elemental tokens we keep talking about.
So it's a cycle of exploration, challenge, and reward.
Exactly.
Like classic adventure game stuff.
Uh-huh.
And some standard quests even offer like a bonus.
Okay.
You might see an item symbol underneath the XP value.
Yeah.
And if you have an item card matching that symbol, you can discard it for even more XP.
Yeah. It's like a little side quest.
Right.
A chance to trade in some loot for extra points.
Yeah, I like that. It encourages you to think about how you're using your items.
Yeah.
But let's get back to those items for a second.
All right.
We know they're important.
Right.
But what are they exactly?
Well, think of the item cards as your tools to survive in Shadowgate.
Right.
They can be anything from weapons and armor to magical artifacts and healing potions.
Right.
Each of them has special abilities that can help you overcome challenges or boost your character's strengths.
So it's like our character's inventory.
Yeah.
A collection of gadgets and gizmos to help us get through this treacherous castle.
Exactly. And there are different types of item cards, too.
Okay.
You have general items, which you can use from your hand. You don't have to equip them.
Right.
And then there's equipable items, relics, weapons, and magic.
Okay.
Each one has a specific spot on your player mat.
Right.
And you have to equip them if you want to use their abilities.
So general items are like quick fixes.
Yeah.
Like for a specific situation.
Right.
While the equipable items are more like a long-term strategy to build up your character's power.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And remember, filling up those equip slots unlocks your character's fully equipped ability, which can change the game.
Okay, so let's say I'm looking at my hand of item cards.
Okay.
What kind of things might I find there?
Well, in the general items category, you might have a torch to replenish your light source and keep those death cards at bay.
Okay.
Or a healing potion to restore your health after like a difficult encounter. There's even a scrying dice that lets you reroll any dice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty handy.
Yeah, it's like a little insurance policy against bad luck.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the relics?
All right.
Those sound pretty powerful.
They can be.
Okay.
Relics are like these ancient artifacts that have magical properties.
Okay.
They can boost your stats, give you special abilities,
Yeah.
or even let you manipulate the game in weird ways.
Oh, give me some examples.
Okay.
Like what kind of crazy relics are we talking about here?
So there's the King's Crown, which lets you temporarily copy the ability of another relic.
Wow, okay.
That's in play.
It's like you get to steal their powers for a turn?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Or the Signet Ring.
Okay.
That's another good one.
All right.
That lets you permanently boost one of your traits by 2 points.
What? So if you're using a character that's kind of weak in one area, the Signet Ring can really help balance them out.
Ah, so it's not just about finding the most flashy item.
Right.
It's about finding the ones that help your character, like their strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly. How about weapons?
Okay, yeah. Are we talking swords, bows, axes, that kind of thing?
Exactly. Weapons are super essential to boost your combat strength.
Right.
Especially when you're going up against those monster quests. Some of them even have defensive abilities, like the Iron Buckler.
Okay.
Which you can discard to avoid a death card.
Like a last-minute shield.
Yeah.
To avoid like certain doom. Okay, so we've got relics for like magical power, weapons for brute force.
Yeah.
What about magic?
Okay.
What kind of spells and enchantments are we talking here?
So magic cards are all about using the elements, fire, ice, and wind.
Okay.
They can be used to pay for certain things in quests, boost your abilities, or even unleash crazy powerful effects.
That's like we're tapping into some serious arcane power.
Right. You might find the Flame of Gorum, which helps you pay for fire-related costs in quests.
Right.
Or Ice from Above, which does the same thing but for ice costs.
Right.
And then there are cards like Summon Elemental that you can use for any magic cost.
Okay.
So it's like a wild card.
Gotcha.
Incredibly versatile and powerful.
Okay, so we're talking about like a huge arsenal of items here, each one with their own strategic use.
Yeah.
This is getting pretty deep.
It is.
But remember how we talked about the Great Barrier event card and assembling the Staff of Ages?
Right.
Like, what's the connection between that and the items that we're finding?
Ah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So as you're exploring Shadowgate, completing quests and gathering items, you're ultimately working towards two goals.
Okay.
surviving the challenges of the castle and preparing for the last confrontation with the ultimate evil that's inside.
Okay.
That Great Barrier event card signals that final quest.
Mm-hmm.
And the Staff of Ages is the only way to defeat that last boss.
So it's like a classic RPG quest line.
Yeah.
We're gathering pieces of a legendary weapon while simultaneously trying not to die. The stakes are high.
They are.
And those Staff of Ages cards, they're hidden within those 3 quest decks, right?
Yeah. So there's caverns, keep, and towers and mines.
Okay.
And each piece that you find brings you closer to having the full staff.
Mm-hmm.
But it also gives you a bonus to one of your character's traits.
Well, that's clever.
Yeah.
It encourages players to explore all the different quest decks and not just focus on one.
Exactly.
But I'm guessing those Staff of Ages pieces, they're essential for that final battle, right?
Absolutely. You have to have all 3 pieces together to even try that last quest.
Okay, so it's a race against time and the forces of evil.
Right.
We need to explore Shadowgate, gather items, find those Staff of Ages pieces, and somehow stay alive long enough to use it all against the final boss.
Exactly. That's the essence of Shadowgate.
Okay, so that Great Barrier event card's been revealed.
Oh, okay.
We got the Staff of Ages. We're standing at the edge of that final quest. What happens next? What does that showdown look like?
Well, you're about to face one of 3 possible bosses.
Okay.
Each one more terrifying than the last. The Reaper, the Behemoth, or the Warlock Lord himself.
Whoa, a boss trifecta?
Yeah.
Each one sounds pretty intimidating.
They are.
How do we even know which one we're up against?
You'll flip over the top card of the final quest deck to reveal your opponent.
All right, so it's like a random encounter?
Yeah.
But with a much higher chance of instant doom.
Just kidding.
Oh, great.
Sort of.
So no pressure.
Yeah.
But our fate basically depends on a single card flip.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
All right, so let's go through these bosses.
Okay.
Starting with the Reaper.
All right, what makes this guy so scary?
So the Reaper is unsurprisingly all about death.
Okay.
His special attack can inflict multiple death cards on your party.
I know.
When he attacks, each player rolls 2 black dice.
Okay.
And if you roll double skulls,
And what does that mean exactly?
you get hit with 2 death cards.
Oh, no, not fun.
Not fun at all.
Okay, so the Reaper is basically like a walking, talking death card dispenser.
Pretty much.
Is there anything you could do to defend against this double skull attack?
Nope. It's unavoidable.
Wow.
The Reaper is relentless, just like death itself.
Man, what a harsh reminder. Even with the best preparation, sometimes luck's just not on your side.
It's not.
So it's all about minimizing those death cards throughout the game.
Yeah.
And hoping for some good rolls in the final battle.
Exactly.
All right, what about the Behemoth?
Okay.
What makes this beast such a challenge?
The Behemoth is all about brute force and unpredictable rage. When he attacks, he rolls 4 black dice for his attack strength.
Right.
But here's the kicker.
Okay.
He also rolls the red die. And that's what determines which of your character's traits you have to use to defend.
Hold on. So the boss gets to decide our defense strategy.
Yeah.
That seems a little unfair.
Well, this is Shadowgate.
Right.
Fairness doesn't exist.
Okay, fair enough.
And it actually gets worse.
Oh, no.
The Behemoth gets to re-roll any skulls he rolls on those attack dice.
Oh, wow.
So his attack can go from 0 to a huge 8.
Talk about a swingy fight.
It is.
You could be facing a gentle nudge or like a full-on battering ram.
Okay, so the Behemoth definitely keeps you guessing.
Right.
What about the big bad himself, the Warlock Lord?
Okay.
What's his deal? So the Warlock Lord is like a mastermind.
Okay.
He's a manipulator of magic and a master of mental warfare.
Right.
He's put all of his trait points into his mental stat,
Okay.
giving him a base mental strength of 4.
Wow. Okay.
And then when he attacks, he adds the results of 2 black dice to that.
So this is less about physical combat.
Right.
And more about like a battle of wits.
Exactly. So when the Warlock Lord attacks, you can choose any trait you want to defend with.
Okay.
You roll 2 black dice,
Mm-hmm.
add it to that trait score.
Right.
If your total is equal to or higher than the Warlock Lord's attack,
Mm-hmm.
then you've defended successfully.
Okay, so we're talking high stakes dice rolls here. And some serious mental gymnastics.
It is.
This sounds like a boss fight for the ages.
It is.
But wait, how does the Staff of Ages factor into all this?
Okay.
We've spent the entire game assembling this legendary weapon.
Right.
It's got to have some use in the final battle, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The Staff of Ages is your main card.
Okay.
If you've got a staff piece equipped,
Right.
you can roll the blue die and add its value to either your attack or defense roll. It can make a huge difference.
So all of our hard work pays off.
Yeah.
The Staff of Ages is like the final power boost.
Yeah.
A reward for completing those quests and finding all the pieces?
Exactly.
Okay, so we're in the middle of this epic boss battle.
All right.
How do we actually track the damage we're doing?
Okay, so this is where the torch mechanic gets a new layer of meaning.
Okay.
Instead of representing how much light you have left,
Right.
the torch counter now keeps track of the boss's life total.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You'll move that torch counter down along the boss life track and try to get the boss's life to 0.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant way to use that core Shadowgate mechanic and give it like a new purpose in that final battle.
But hold on, you mentioned energy cards before.
Yeah.
How do those factor into that final quest?
Yeah, those pesky energy cards.
Right.
They represent like the boss's final efforts to stop you.
Yeah, every time you move that torch counter onto or past a red space on the boss life track, you trigger an energy card.
So it's like the boss is fighting back, even as we're trying to chip away at his life total.
Exactly. And those energy cards can have all kinds of nasty effects.
Oh, like what?
Well, some will force you to attack with your weakest trait.
Oh, no.
Others could backfire and actually heal the boss.
Really?
And some will even disable your items.
Yikes. So it's like a constant back and forth.
Yeah.
A tug of war between our heroes and the forces of evil.
Exactly.
But what happens if we manage to overcome all that?
Okay.
And actually defeat the final boss?
Right.
Like, what's the reward for saving Shadowgate?
Victory in Shadowgate is great.
Okay.
You not only get bragging rights forever, but you get to take the final quest card, which gives you 50 XP.
Talk about a victory lap.
Right?
That's a huge boost in points.
It is.
So after all of that, we add up all the XP from all the completed quests and all the bonus points from items and energy cards, subtract those death card penalties, and the player with the highest score wins.
No, you got it. The player with the most XP is named the High Lord of the Westland.
What a title.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've explored the history of Shadowgate, delved into all those mechanics of the board game, faced terrifying monsters, and even defeated the ultimate evil.
That's right.
But what does it all mean?
Okay.
Why should people care about Shadowgate, the living castle?
This game is more than just rolling dice and collecting cards.
Right.
It's about entering a world of legend and adventure.
Okay.
A world where your choices actually matter.
Right.
And every victory is hard won.
It's a celebration of this beloved video game franchise.
Yeah.
Brought to life in a way where you get to experience it firsthand with your friends.
Exactly.
It's a game that challenges you.
Yeah.
To think strategically.
Right.
Adapt to weird situations. And work together to overcome all those impossible odds.
It's about facing your fears.
Right.
Embracing the unknown.
Yeah.
And proving that you're a true hero of Shadowgate.
And with a new expansion, Talimar Rising.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's going to add even more depth and replayability to the game.
Well, let's take a closer look at this expansion and all the goodies it offers. We'll come right back to this after a quick break. Okay, so we're back and ready to delve into Talimar Rising. What's got you most excited about this expansion?
Well, for starters, it introduces 4 new characters, each with their own unique abilities.
Okay.
Adding like a whole new layer of strategy to the game.
Ooh, new characters. That's always exciting. What kind of personalities are we talking about? Give me a taste of their Shadowgate flavor.
We've got Yorick, the Arcane Artificer, who I'm sure will appeal to those who love a bit of magical ingenuity.
Okay.
Then there's Shan Ra, the Taiyan Ranger, bringing some wilderness expertise to the table.
Right.
And of course, no Shadowgate expansion would be complete without a dwarf. So we've got Grim Axe Grinder, the dwarven hero, ready to smash some skulls.
Love it.
Yeah.
But you mentioned 4 new characters. Who's the mysterious 4th?
Now this one's a real surprise. Get ready for Lieutenant Malor Kahu, the shape-shifting werewolf general of the Warlock Lord.
Wait, we get to play as one of the bad guys? That's a twist. I can already imagine the chaos that'll erupt when someone decides to, like, betray the party and embrace their inner werewolf. It's such a classic Shadowgate move.
Right. And it's not just new characters. Talimar Rising also throws 5 new arcane items into the mix, which promise to shake things up in some interesting ways.
Arcane items? That sounds intriguing. Are we talking, like, powerful artifacts, mystical trinkets? What exactly can we expect?
Well, the details are still shrouded in mystery. But I'm imagining items with unique effects that could, like, turn the tide of battle or offer unexpected advantages. It's going to be exciting to see how these arcane items integrate with the existing gameplay.
I'm all for shaking things up. And more gin riddles, right. Always up for a mental challenge. Anything else we can look forward to?
There are also new puzzle items, which will test your problem-solving skills and perhaps, like the most exciting addition, minor boss battles that require players to team up to win.
Oh, hold on. Team-up boss battles, that's a whole new level of cooperative gameplay. Tell me more about how these work.
So it's a brilliant addition that really emphasizes, like, the teamwork aspect of Shadowgate.
Right.
So in the base game, the final boss fight was really, like, the only time players truly worked together. But now in Talimar Rising, each of the 3 quest stacks has quests with a minor boss battle. If a player lands on one of these, they can choose to go it alone.
Okay.
But it's going to be tough. The quest costs are usually really high, encouraging players to join forces for a better chance of success.
Ah, so it's like a risk-reward situation. You can try to solo it for ultimate glory, but you might get crushed. Or you can swallow your pride call for backup and increase your odds of winning those sweet, sweet rewards.
Exactly. And these minor bosses are no pushovers. We're talking about formidable foes like the Death Knight King Dugan, the Goblin General Chief Gorka, and making another appearance, Lieutenant Malakahu. Imagine having to team up with the very werewolf who might decide to betray you later in the game. The tension is palpable.
I love it. It adds this whole new layer of suspicion and strategy to the game. You can't just trust anyone blindly. You have to constantly weigh your options, consider your alliances, and be prepared for anything. It's like the game is reflecting the treacherous nature of Shadowgate itself.
It really is. It speaks to the creator's understanding of what makes Shadowgate so compelling. The constant sense of uncertainty, the need to adapt, and the thrill of overcoming seemingly insurmountable challenges. So there you have it, folks.
Yeah.
Our deep dive into Shadowgate, the Living Castle.
That's right.
A board game that honors its past while forging a path for the future.
Exactly. We hope this deep dive has equipped you with all the knowledge and insights you need to go on your own Shadowgate adventure.
Gather your friends, light your torches, and get ready to face the shadows. The fate of Shadowgate is in your hands.